to YouTube fam, it's your girl TK, and I am at home vlogging, darling. And I decided that I wanted to get online real quick and speak to you guys about 9/11. We're going to be talking state of emergencies and how they are attached to the head of state. I think it's so important. Now, the reason why I'm very interested in this video is because I don't know if y'all realize it, but we're on a federal holiday where we are celebrating 9/11. We're honoring the victims. And, you know, I thought today would be a great day to do this video. Now, in this video, I will be saying to you guys, dispatcher, state your emergency. The reason why I'm saying that is because I want you guys to know 9/11 is not the only emergency that is happening as I am doing this video. I want you guys to know that it is one of the emergencies that is very much so noted. It's going down in history due to the terrorism that occurred and how we visually saw it. But I want you guys to know that there's also COVID-19. I want you guys to also note that there's also January 6th insurrection, and they're all attached to a state of emergency. So what is your emergency? Now, I want to outline some of the casualties that have happened via these state of emergencies I outlined. Now, the first one will be 9/11 terrorist attacks. If you guys don't know, the casualties were approximately 3,000 people who lost their lives. Are you aware of that? Did you note that? If you didn't, it's time for you to do so today. Now, when you think about COVID-19, well, I want you guys to know that that was serious. A lot of people did not know what was going on. I remember stores shutting down. People were scared. I had anxieties because I felt like I was a part of a Walking Dead movie, a horror story. You know, that's what it appeared to be at the time. But I want you guys to know that approximately 1,100,000 people died due to COVID-19. And before Donald Trump left office, over 400,000 COVID-19 patients died while he was the president, 45th president to be exact. Next, we want to talk about January 6th insurrection. Now, January 6th insurrection, well, that was an insurrection dealing with the state capitol, an election, the presidents, how things are run, how is the system structured. Now, with this, I want you guys to note that there was approximately 10 casualties due to this insurrection, and over 100 or so police officers that was victimized on that day. Now, I want to also speak to you guys about the head of states that are attached to a state of an emergency. If you guys don't know, the first person we're going to speak of is George W. Bush. Now, he was the 43rd president of the United States. He was attached to 9/11 terrorist attack. Donald Trump, well, he was the 45th president of the United States, and he was attached to COVID-19, but he's also attached to an election, January 6th insurrection. Oh my gosh. Now, if that's not a thriller, then I want you guys to note, I don't know what the hell is. Also, Joe Biden. Well, Joe Biden, he's attached as well to not only being a head of state, but an insurrection, as well as COVID-19. COVID-19, well, it's really not a state of an emergency right now, but it's still out here and it's still lingering right now as we speak. And if that's not a thriller, then I don't know what is. Anyhow, I will also want you guys to know we're going to be speaking about someone who's hidden. And that's me, myself, Tanya. Tanya knows. And if you guys don't know, I want you guys to know that I am a queen, a monarchy. I know it's a thriller because I never tried to be. I am attached to the U.S. Constitution due to prohibited personnel practices. And due to those prohibited personnel practices, it made me not only the queen for the United States, but the queen of the United Kingdom, as well as Cuba. Now, today what I'm going to do is read to you guys some statement of facts. Ready? Here it goes. Now, it goes on to say here that September 11th attacks, commonly known as 9/11, were four coordinated Islamic suicide terrorist attacks carried out by Al Qaeda against the United States on Tuesday, September 11, 2001. 19 terrorists hijacked four commercial airliners scheduled to travel from the New England and Mid-Atlantic regions of the East Coast to California. The hijackers crashed the first two planes into the Twin Towers of the World Trade Center in New York City, two of the world's five tallest buildings at the time, and aimed the next two flights towards targets in or near Washington, D.C., in an attack on the nation's capital. The third team succeeded in crashing into the Pentagon, the headquarters of the U.S. Department of Defense in Arlington County, Virginia, while the fourth plane crashed in rural Pennsylvania following a passenger revolt. State of emergency by definition. You know, it's so important for me to define this because I'm telling you that, oh my goodness, guys, we're dealing with 9/11, we're dealing with COVID, we're dealing with January 6th insurrection. But what the hell is a state of an emergency, really, in real time? Well, you know what, friend? I'm finna define it for you. Now, a state of emergency, by definition, is a situation in which a government is empowered to put through policies that it would normally not be permitted to do for the safety and protection of its citizens. So a state of emergency is that I'm going to implement policies that I really don't want to do on a normal basis, but because of the situation, let me do so. Let me put this in place. Now, a government can declare a state of emergency during a natural disaster, civil unrest, armed conflict, medical pandemic or epidemic, or other biosecurity risks. Well, this was a great time to put a state of emergency in place as of recent. Well, let's start with 9/11. Well, of course, it went through because that was what? A conflict, an armed conflict. So that automatically qualifies as a state of emergency. And if we think about COVID, well, damn, that qualifies as a state of emergency because now we're in a pandemic. That's a state of emergency. You know, it's really a thriller. Now, I want to start by asking you guys some questions. Now, here it goes. Question: are you aware that the United States is currently attached to a state of emergency? Well, hopefully you guys should know that. If you guys don't know, I want you guys to know that on March 13, 2020, Donald Trump issued a proclamation stating that a novel, new coronavirus known as SARS-CoV-2 was first detected in Wuhan, People's Republic of China, caused an outbreak of the coronavirus disease COVID-19 that has now spread globally. The Secretary of Health and Human Services declared a public health emergency on January 31st, 2020 under Section 319 of the Public Health Service Act. Now, if you wanted to look at the proclamation that Donald Trump provided, you can always go to my community tab and it's available for you. You will see it under my title, State of an Emergency, and I talk about everything that I'm talking about as of now. You will see exactly what I'm talking about, the image, okay? Furthermore, are you aware that COVID state of an emergency is attached to an election? So, are you aware COVID, the state of an emergency, is also attached to an emergency state of an emergency? It's really a two-for-one-er that's going on. Did you know that? Well, if you didn't, I want you guys to note something. On January 6, 2020, following the defeat of U.S. President Donald Trump in the 2020 presidential election, a mob of his supporters attacked the United States Capitol building in Washington, D.C. The mob sought to keep Trump in power by preventing a joint session of Congress from counting the Electoral College votes to formalize the victory of President-elect Joe Biden. So yes, there is a state of emergency. COVID is attached to an election. It's really a thriller. Next question that I have for you. Are you aware that the current state of an emergency in the United States is attached to an election, a breach of the U.S. Constitution, and the president? Are you aware about the breach? Well, if you're not, I want you guys to know that I, Tanya knows, am the absolute monarchy, which I've already stated. And I was attached to the U.S. Constitution due to a breach that is connected to a prohibited personnel practice, 5 U.S.C. 2302 B8, as well as B9. Question. Are you aware that the presidents of the United States are considered terrorists and have killed the queen and or king as they are attached to the U.S. Constitution? Are you aware of that? Please note, I need you guys to pay attention because this is what is exactly happening. Now, I want to define to you guys, what is terrorism? Because I think that is so important for you guys to know. Now, terrorism, by definition, is the unlawful use of violence and intimidation, especially against civilians, in the pursuit of political aims. Treason, by definition, is the offense of attempting by overt acts to overthrow the government of the state to which the offender owes allegiance, or to kill or personally injure the sovereign or the sovereign's family. Question. Are you aware that Donald Trump is currently using a state of emergency to gain political control of the federal government and to remove the Queen using acts of terrorism and treason? If you guys aren't aware of it, I want you guys to pay attention that there's a National Archive. Under the National Archive, there's this leadership and artificial intelligence. There's an executive order, okay? It's 13859. It was put in place in 2019. That's where he attached a ruler. Then he has a proclamation declaring a state of an emergency, and he attached it to COVID. On March 13, 2020, and over 1 million people have died due to this casualty. And January 6th insurrection occurred as well. And approximately 10 people died while his followers, and when I say he, I'm talking Donald Trump, when his followers, Donald Trump's followers, were advocating on his behalf. Number 4, I want you guys to know the election and indictments. Well, Donald Trump is currently faced with classified documents, presidential election and hush money. He's faced with Georgia election and January 6th insurrection, which is also attached to a state of an emergency. Now, ain't that a thriller? 911 is attached to terrorism, treason, and murder. It's really a thriller, y'all. Joe Biden and Donald Trump must cease and desist from using a state of an emergency to hide the current monarchy when they are the cause of casualties of civilians, terrorism, and treason. Dispatcher, state your emergency. Respectfully, Tanya, TK knows. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. So like, comment, and subscribe. Please keep your notifications on. Peace, love, and happiness, guys. Bye.